Etude number 13, lucky 13, lucky for you, this is all about the chromatic scale. So we need to be able to identify that. We need to identify that literally almost every 16th note passage in this is a chromatic passage. And so we need to make sure that we're shedding on the chromatic scale. And this etude gives us a good opportunity to take the chromatic scale and put it into practice, which is awesome. So step number one is identifying what is chromatic and what is not. I'll give you a secret. Most of this is chromatic, but there are two passages that aren't. I'm not going to tell you where they are, but you need to find them because that will help, circle them just so that you know. Everything else, you can also identify by taking that pencil and writing CHROM, right? Chromatic, just to, trigger the memory that, oh, yep, chromatic, chromatic, chromatic. As soon as we talk chromatic scales, kind of the thing that goes hand in hand then is also talking about our alternate fingerings. And so here we have three alternate fingerings in chromatic situations that we need to be aware of. And they exist for different reasons. So I'm going to deal with the first family kind of first. We want to avoid scissor fingers on the saxophone, whether it happen in the left hand or whether it happen in the right hand. We want to avoid that kind of movement on the saxophone. So when you find yourself doing that, that should be a red flag that says there's alternate fingerings that are there to help me out. So one of them is when we have B and we're going to C, rather than doing that, we can use side C. It's the middle side key, right? We keep the first finger down and simply add the middle side key and we get C. The second one that is really in that same family then is down here on the bottom stack. F to F sharp, right? We have an alternate, which is right there, right? And I can use my ring finger, and that is my F sharp, and that is going to help me in those two chromatic situations. The third alternate, which exists for a completely different reason, is our B flat. So by this point in the lessons and the tutorials, I should have convinced you that this B flat, right, that's a really, really, really good B flat fingering to use. And it is, but not in chromatic passages, because at that point we have to be rolling, and this is not conducive to being really, really accurate. It's a cool sound, and it's something that, when I'm soloing and doing jazz stuff, that kind of slide from B flat to B can actually create a great effect, but not here. That's simply not what we want. And so those alternates I need to be being used on this. And I know sometimes what goes through the brain is why alternates? The ones I learned in beginning band work just fine. And when we're playing at a slow tempo, they do work just fine. But we want to be able to set the technique to be able to play really, really quick and have a good foundation to be able to handle all of that. And if you look at the saxophone, the saxophone is constructed in a very ergonomic way. It means that it actually fits the fingers. You can literally see the curvature of the top stack following the curvature of my hand. And the alternates basically exist in the same fashion that we can use the hand as it would normally be used and get through some tricky stuff. So the other two areas that I want to hit that have nothing to do with the chromatic scale involve rhythm. Don't rush the quarter notes. Okay, that happens all the time where students play this and they rush through quarter notes, particularly the very first full complete measure, right? We have the 16th note pickups into 3 quarter notes, and I hear those 3 quarter notes rushed so often because we're not subdividing on them and we're not really hooking the 16th notes up to the same pulse that the quarter notes are going to hook up to. And that's super, super important. The other area that I see students make mistakes on is when we go to the third line, first measure into second measure, that tie. Any tied notes across the bar line is always a red flag for rhythmic accuracy. So we want to make sure that we're counting count 4, but then we're also counting count 1 as well, and we're not rushing through that.